What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sports Prodigies with your hosts. I'm Aiden.
And I'm Swoggle.
And today, even though sports are not going on during this tough time, we will be talking about some sports debates that just like random people talk about. So we're bringing on our guest, Nate. Say what's up, Nate.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back. Really excited to be here today.
Yeah, so we wanted to bring on Nate just so that we can have like some debate on the show, kind of show you where we're leaning on some some arguments in sports. So we have a couple of questions. We'll go through them all. So the first question is, if you could pick any quarterback of all time in their prime to be your franchise quarterback, who would you choose? So Nate, do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, I'll get it started. If I had to pick one quarterback out of every single quarterback that's ever played the game of football, everybody in their primes, I would have to pick Peyton Manning. Strictly because of, his drive and his consistency as the best quarterback in the NFL, as in, being in the top three. He was a two-time Super Bowl champ. He was a five-time MVP, which means that he was the best player in the league 5 times, but that also just doesn't even show. He's also in the running every single year of his career. Hurt his neck in 2011, came back in 2012 and made the All-Pro team, and was the comeback player of the year. If I had to pick one quarterback, it would be Peyton Manning.
Yeah, you can't really debate with that. Swoggle, you want to go?
I think you should go.
Okay. My franchise quarterback is the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. TB12, 6-time Super Bowl champion. He's going to be 43 at the beginning of the season. He's still killing it. He's got Godwin, Evans. He's now got Gronk. I feel like he's got a lot better receivers. And I feel like I don't know when this guy's ever going to stop. I just feel like he's the greatest to ever do it. And I would pick him under center 100% of the time.
All right, here's my thing with Tom Brady. You can't deny his talent, and he's definitely probably in the top, 3 greatest quarterbacks of all time. But I don't think he's going to mesh well on the Bucs. And here's why, because Tom Brady now is like a 5-yard check down quarterback traditionally. And, Godwin and Evans are really deep threats. So it'll be interesting to see, how they're going to adjust their offense from Jameis Winston, who loved to throw the long ball, to now Tom Brady, who, is like a big check down quarterback now. So, I mean, it'll be interesting.
I feel like I've heard that, or I believe that I think Godwin and Evans are both on the edge of being like those like all-stars to like top.
Honestly, I really think that was a bad comment.
On my part?
Yeah.
How so?
He's more of a drop, like dump off thrower. I mean, when you have Julian Edelman as your number one receiver, well, he's a slot receiver, and that was really their only receiver. And you have James White out of the backfield, so yeah, that's going to be what he was. And they've had that. They haven't had any deep threats. But now on the Bucs, you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So yeah, I really do think that was a bad comment.
How? Because I'm just saying that it'll be interesting to see how Tom Brady and the Bucs offense is going to adjust to, Tom Brady coming from that dump off offense in New England.
I don't think there's any adjusting to do. He, like Aiden said,
he's a 40-year-old quarterback that's been coming out of the same system for almost 20 years now, and now he's in a totally new system with totally new receivers. So I'm just saying I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens this season with that team and that offense. I don't think that was a bad comment at all.
What's it called? I'm going to keep going on what I was saying. Tom Brady obviously is old. We're not going to deny that. I think that if Godwin and Evans are these type of top 10 wide receivers, which I believe they're up there, I think they can figure out a way to still be that great of a receiver with Tom Brady. I feel like Tom Brady, even at 43, is better than Jameis Winston. I understand Jameis Winston threw the deep ball and I think he led the league in touchdowns, but he also led the league in interceptions. It's probably tough on a wide receiver, but he also did try to fit it in those spots for those guys. So I agree with you. I don't know what's going to happen with the Bucs this year, but I was just trying to get at how Tom Brady's now moving on and he's still making dough, and I think he's still the best quarterback of all time. So I don't even think it matters what he does at the Bucs.
Mm-hmm.
So Swoggle, you could go now.
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily saying he's the greatest quarterback of all time because once I say his name, you can't say that after 2 years. But the quarterback that I would want is Lamar Jackson. He's the most, in my opinion, the most undefendable quarterback in NFL history. Or at least that one season was the most dominant season one of the most dominant seasons in my opinion. I think his skill set is just no one can guard him. I think if you need to throw the ball, he can throw the ball for you. He's going to only improve in that area, as we saw last year. He led the league in touchdowns, throwing touchdowns. Obviously, he's the first quarterback with a 3,000, 1,000-yard season rushing the ball. So if I need one guy, Lamar, my guy.
So here's the thing. I'm just going to say one or two things about that. So I'm definitely going to agree with you. This MVP season was one of the best seasons I've ever seen from a quarterback. The way I look at a franchise player, a quarterback especially, is the guy's going to win me rings. And I understand Lamar is only in his second year. And I understand that, like, getting used to the league takes a long time. But he's a great player. But I don't think I would take a guy that's in his second year. But I also understand that he is probably the most unguardable player in the NFL. So, like, I agree with you, but I also think you're taking him a little too early. But, like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I agree with that, Aiden, completely. I think that a couple of years down the line, I could definitely take Lamar Jackson as my franchise quarterback. But right now, I mean, it's too early in his career, and although he's won an MVP, he's not a proven enough playoff quarterback.
What do you mean he's not proven enough?
As a playoff quarterback
in the playoffs
for me to take him as my franchise quarterback.
Well, he'll be fine. FYI.
Yeah,
he could be, but he also could not be.
No, he will be. I'm not thinking. I'm telling you, he will be.
Okay.
Okay. So our next question is, if the NBA season does return. So they're saying right now that if it does return, they'll be using Walt Disney World or Las Vegas as, like, places where the NBA would play, obviously due to the coronavirus. But if they do get that set up and they do finish out the season, who do you guys think will be the NBA champ? So I'm going to start with this one first, and then we could get to Nate and Swoggle. But I got the LA Lakers. I think that LeBron is just such a leader. And, like, during this hard time, like, they're not practicing right now. Like, they're doing Zooms. It's just, like, a tough time to be, I guess, in life. And I think LeBron can really get all of his players together, and they can really work together. And I think LeBron also turns on playoff mode. And I think all these other guys, all of these all-stars right now, I don't think they can really handle the pressure of, like, coming back out. And after how many months has it been? Like 2?
It's been about 2 months, yeah.
Yeah, of coming off 2 months of not working out every day.
Well,
I understand they're working out, but they're not
working out by themselves.
They better, but, like, they're not working with their team. You know what I mean? It's like, this is a team sport. So I have the Lakers.
I want to go ask Ryan Green about that.
Maybe we'll bring him on and talk about it. Okay, one of you guys want to go?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to piggyback off you because, I mean, we have the same pick. I love, the way Los Angeles has been playing this year. And, I've been saying it, like, obviously this has nothing to do with the way that they've been playing, but it would just be like sort of like not like a Cinderella story, but like a perfect thing since, like, the passing away of Kobe Bryant. But when you look at the way this team has played this season, I mean, they have a matchup for every single potential contender in the league that either matches up with them evenly or they beat them. So to me, the Lakers are just, you can't beat them.
Okay, Swoggle, who do you have?
The LA Clippers.
Okay, you have a reasoning or just the
I'll tell you a reason. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, Marcus Morris, Pat Beverly, Scrapster. And then I'll tell you the real reason, Doc Rivers.
Yeah, Doc Rivers is a great coach. The only thing that I have to say, really, I definitely think the Clippers are a great team, and I think it's really going to matter. I think the 2 LA teams are going to meet in the conference finals, and whoever wins, that's winning the championship.
We'll see, bro. It ain't the Clippers.
I agree with that.
So the next thing we're going to be talking about is who in your eyes is the greatest athlete of all time?
I'll start us off. Prime time, Deion Sanders. My man one of the best cornerbacks to ever play the game of football. Not only did he play cornerback in the NFL, he played baseball. He was a career 260 hitter, which is pretty solid if you ask me. But what really shows how great of an athlete this guy was is he was playing for the Braves and the Falcons. So at the same time, same city. And the Braves were in the playoffs. They were playing the Pittsburgh Pirates in Pittsburgh at that time. And the Falcons had a game in Miami. So what does Dion do? Well, one, he tried to play the game the night before the Dolphins game, but he couldn't get there. So he's in Miami. He plays against the Dolphins, gets banged up, after a football game. They're all sore and all. But what does he do? He gets right on that plane, gets to Pittsburgh, and plays in the baseball game that night. First and only athlete to play 2 different professional sports games within 24 hours.
Yeah, I also think that'll be the only time that an athlete will ever do that.
Yep.
So, Nate, you want to go?
Yeah, I agree with you, Swags. To me, it's Deion Sanders without a question. You hit the nail on the head. You kind of covered everything. But just to piggyback off what he said, in 1993, right? So this is when he was playing for the Falcons and the Braves. He averaged 276 with 6 home runs and 28 RBIs. But at the same time, he was on the Falcons playing, had 7 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, and he was just really like, if you were a wide receiver playing against Deion Sanders, you weren't going anywhere. Like, you weren't going to be able to get open for maybe caught 1 or 2 passes the entire game. And Deion Sanders was just that fast and that, not even overpowering, just that quick and that, like, shifty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Deion Sanders for me.
Okay, I'm going to go a little different route than you guys. I'm going to go with Bo Nose Jackson. Bo Jackson, first overall pick in the 1986 draft. Even though he did not play for the Tampa Bay Bucks, he decided to go the baseball route. He played 9 years of baseball, yet he had a batting average of 250 for his career, and he hit 141 home runs. And this is only his baseball side. He played for 9 years, like I said. He also was a Heisman winner at Auburn. He was a 2-time All-American and 3-time first-team all SEC team. He is the only player ever to be on the MLB All-Star Game and the NFL Pro Bowl. And in the NFL, obviously his career was cut short by a big injury. And I feel like a lot of people think Deion is the best athlete because he did have a long, good career, and he's obviously in the Hall of Fame. But Bo Jackson's also reportedly said to have run a 4.12 40 at his combine. So people think John Ross is fast. He ran 0.10 faster than John Ross, and I think that's outstanding. And something that I want to add on to what we've all been saying, guys like Deion and Bo Jackson, Kyler Murray, obviously, these guys are like one-in-a-type, generational type players. And I think these guys are all outstanding athletes. It's really hard to debate on who's the best. But, like, I don't think in the future we'll be seeing guys doing both sports, especially at the same time like Deion. I think it's outstanding.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
We got time for one more question. So
our last question that we'll be talking about is the most unbeatable record of all time. So do one of you guys want to do that, or I'll start?
I'll start us off. Mr. Iron Man in Baltimore named Cal Ripken Jr. 2,632 consecutive games played. You know who had the most amount of consecutive games played? Who the current leader is? Well, I'll tell you, but it's Whit Merrifield. But guess the amount of games it is.
Probably around like
can't be more than 300.
300, like 350.
You think it's 350?
It can't be more
probably
than 300.
around there.
Try 247. Cal Ripken had 2,632 consecutive games played. Whit Merrifield need to play every game consecutively for the next 16 seasons and a half. So he need to play every game every day during the season for the next 16 years to break the record. That ain't happening.
Yeah, that's nuts. And I think just times have changed a lot from like back then when Cal Ripken played to now. Like, people are doing load management now. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
but
think I can ever
There's really
see
not. There's not.
Kawhi
There's really
Leonard.
not load management in baseball.
Yeah, I understand that, but there are times where players just sit out because they're tired or
The only position is catcher.
Yeah. I just think times have changed though. Like, I don't think Cal Ripken ever complained about going out and playing in a baseball game.
Well, he loved the game.
Yeah, I just think times have changed. So I'm gonna go on mine. I have the UConn women's basketball winning streak of 111 games from 2014 to 2017. I think this is the best winning streak that we will ever see for a very long time in all of sports. I don't think it matters if it's in men's college basketball, the NBA, MLB, NHL. It doesn't matter. I don't think anybody will ever get a 111 game win streak. I think that's just outstanding. Gino Ariema is running a really good program down at UConn, and during that time, he had girls like Breanna Stewart and some of the best players in the WNBA today.
Yeah.
So I think that's an outstanding record, and I got to give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that one. My record, it's not even as much of a record as, I mean, I guess it is a record. It's Pistol Pete Maravich out of LSU. His career scoring game average, which is the most out of any college player, 44.2 points per game. Throughout his 3-year tenure at LSU, he averaged 43.8, 44.2, and 44.5. But here's the most impressive part of this whole thing, is that he played at a time where there was no 3-point line. So this was all 2-pointers, and he would either pull it from the logo, even though it was just for 2. He could attack the rim. He could do whatever he needed to do to score the basketball. The next highest scorer of all time in NCAA basketball is Kevin Bradshaw out of U.S. International, and he scored 34.45 points per game only over one season. So to me, there's nobody that's even going to touch that, feat and that record that Pistol Pete Maravich made for himself.
Yeah, one thing I want to add on to that is I've been seeing this kid. He's a sophomore right now. He just won Gatorade Player of the Year as a sophomore, Amoni Bates. The kid's been saying for years how if it's a possibility, he'll go straight to the league, and I think he'll have a crazy amount of success in the NBA if he keeps doing what he's doing. But if they send this kid to college, I think this kid is going to be nasty, and I'm not saying he's going to touch 40 points per game because that's outstanding. But I literally believe that he can probably average 30 points per game if he's on the right team in college and has the right coach. Because this kid is one of the best high school kids I've ever seen play.
Yeah, but I mean, you also never know anymore because now you got all these kids that are skipping college and going to the G League. I mean, that'll be definitely interesting to see because he is definitely very special at a high school.
Yeah, and also the NCAA has stated that they will start paying players, I think, in the 2021-2022
Yeah,
season.
to me, it's just amazing
likeness.
how much it took for them to actually, agree to start paying players. Once they start losing talent, then, I'm not going to get into that because that's not what this topic is.
Okay, so we would like to thank everybody for listening. Thank you, Nate, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Anytime you guys want me to come back, I'm definitely available.
Yeah,
of course.
For sure.
Everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you are not already following our Instagram, go hit the follow button on Sports Prodigies on Instagram. We will be back on Friday, and we hope to hear from you guys in the comment section.
Talking UFC on Friday.
Yeah, we will be talking about the UFC. So tune in for that. Thank you, everybody.